So I missed the days when I was training like an animal. So I wanted to get back to that. So I had spoken to the girlfriend about maybe hiring a trainer for a few sessions to kick my butt, light a flame, re-inspire me to train maybe in a different way. And I thought about, is there a pro bodybuilder? I wasn't thinking of competing, but is there somebody at that level I could learn from? Because I like that style of training.
It's so hard to find, too, these days, right?
The only person I could find in the Massachusetts area was Jose. And I didn't know if he coached, if he trained. I just knew of him. It's, Jay Cutler is the biggest in our area. Jose's probably the second biggest in terms of, there were big names, Mike Matarazzo, Paul DeMeo, these guys that had big splashes for a few years. And unfortunately, all those guys are deceased. Jose had like a 10-year run as a very successful IFBB Pro, one of the best in the world. And he's local. I just didn't believe in myself, but he believed in me. And so I was a trainer for 3 years at Bally's, and Bally's offered me a manager position of a different location. And in order to take it, I would have to give up all of my clients. And as you've seen working with me, I'm invested, right? Like,
for sure.
I know your story. I know how bad you want it. I want it just as much. And so I had 3 years of working with people that in order to take this management job, I'd have to give them all up. And then there was the unknown. I have a degree in guitar. How am I going to be managing a gym of trainers? And so my instinct, and I talked to my parents, and they're like, yeah, probably just stay where you are. And my instinct was, what if I suck at it? What if I'm not a good manager? I lost everything. And so I was talking to this client one day, and he's like, no, you wouldn't. We're still here. You've done this. You can do this. That's an opportunity to learn and grow. I so want to break that stereotype. I have a lot of successful business friends, and then when the gym started kind of going in this direction, they all warned me, and it was based off of their own stereotypes of, hey, careful, you don't want to open up a bodybuilding gym because that's not successful. That's going to scare the people you want away, right? So I heard that over and over and over again, and that just if the gym was filled with muscly people, men and women, in shape people, that would intimidate others and they wouldn't want to come.
Or it would motivate.
Yeah. Nick, what my favorite question.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
That's a great question. Start finding mentors earlier, right? That was a real turning point for me that we talked about earlier. And with that comes believing in yourself. Anything that I've been fortunate to do has usually come from a mentor believing in me first and me earning that belief in myself through taking those steps.
And welcome to the Apex Lifestyles Podcast. I'm your host, Bobgdmd, and I'm here as always with my co-host,
Dennis V. How are you, Bob?
Man, I'm fantastic. We had a really great week this week, didn't we?
Mariah Carey.
Yeah, we were up there in the rafters. We had a studio up there. We had the Apex Lifestyles crew. It was a great night to be had for sure, right? And what did you get out of that?
Mariah Carey. She is, I'm telling you, I've always had her as a top 5 of all time amongst female artists, slightly below Whitney, and she didn't disappoint at all.
No, she was great. Classic. She did her Christmas songs, a couple of her hits, and the crew. What do we have, about 20 people up there?
20 people, and I'm telling you, when she pulled the catalog of music out and went beyond the Christmas music, the place just lit up.
It lit up, right? And then she even went down into the front row and started signing autographs. It was great. Yes.
Bob, you treated everybody well. Amazing night up in the
It was fun for sure, right? But you know what, Dennis? I'm about 4 months away from, as they say, shocking the people, right?
I just reminded you that a few minutes ago.
You did, and
took two steps back.
Yeah, my heart sank just thinking about it. But with that, we have an amazing guest here tonight.
I say you bring the thunder. Sometimes today the thunder is here.
It arrived from Boston, downtown Boston.
Absolutely.
Right, and we have an IFBB Pro, owner of GymHub, my coach, Nate Telow. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
What's going on, Nate? Nice to have you.
Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, so we're going to get into it, man. Like, you have an interesting story, right? So you and I share a couple of things together, right? One is a love for fitness, bodybuilding, all of that. Obviously, you're a professional. I'm an amateur at best, right? Trying to learn my way around, and you're helping guide the path. And it's been certainly an interesting. I think you and I kind of met around August of this year, right? And that's an interesting story. I had a coach for a while that just wasn't really showing up, and I was following you on Instagram, and I reached out, and it happened to be the best thing that had happened to me. And I told Dennis before, it feels like I entered the right room now, right? Not just like with your help, but GymHub in itself, right? So we're gonna get deep in all of that, right? But we also share a love for music. Yeah. We're both guitar players. We both went to music school. Yeah, interesting. Lee, Nate you went to Berkeley College of Music, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna dig into all of that. So, Dennis.
Yeah, once you came to Boston, you never left Boston, right?
Yeah, exactly. 1999 came from Berkeley College of Music.
And as I learned, my relatives from straight out of Lewiston, Maine.
Yep, good old Lewiston. Family still lives there. I'll be up there on Christmas Day. And it was great. It wasn't that far from home coming to Boston. Right? It was like big city, awesome music school, really diverse. Certainly Boston is much more diverse than Lewiston. But a 2-hour drive to get home whenever I needed to. So it was a good little move, and I love Boston so much I never left.
But you always can go back and have the peaceful Lewiston air out there and relax and vibe, right?
Exactly, yep.
It's cool.
Yeah, so interesting. You go to Berkeley, you're a guitar player. How do you get involved with bodybuilding?
Yeah, that happened my first year at Berkeley. So I grew up playing a lot of sports, hockey, which you do when you're in Lewiston, baseball, and I really got into martial arts. So I did martial arts for 5 years, Kempo karate, used to compete in the karate fighting tournaments and forum tournaments, and then guitar hit me around like 11, 12, and I'm totally in love with it, and I didn't want to do anything else but play guitar. Any moment out of high school, all I did was play guitar 6 hours a day. And so I pretty much stopped most sports at that point. And then while I'm at Berkeley, 18, 19, it was probably in my second semester, I was like, man, I am tired all the time. I just had no physical activity. You're in class and you're home sitting down playing guitar. And I was away from home for the first time, so I ate garbage. You know, my Pop-Tarts for breakfast, slice of pizza for lunch, and Chef Boyardee for dinner. So understandably now in the field that I'm in, I felt like shit. You know, it felt terrible. So I was just looking for something I knew when I played sports and I was active and I moved, I felt good. And Berkeley doesn't have any sports. There wasn't, can I join some type of activity club or intramural sports? So I joined a gym. And very quickly after, I think, I had the beginner gains. I put on like 15 pounds within, 3-4 months. And you get attention from that. You feel good. You're at Berkeley. There's nobody in shape at Berkeley. It's a bad time.
Oh, yeah.
And then, it's just musicians drinking beer and smoking pot and, eating pizza. So I got attention from it, always from guys, never from women, as we learn when we work out. But
isn't that funny? Right?
You always have the memes of what you thought would happen and what actually happens. So, I got some attention. I loved it. I all of a sudden felt energy. I felt good. And I don't know how I stumbled. I probably just bought a bodybuilding magazine saying, okay, let me see what this is about in terms of the routines, figuring out what I want to do. And I remember being in college watching like the Ronnie Coleman infamous DVD, or at that point VHS tape, with him squatting 800 pounds.
800-pound squat, right?
Yeah. And
lightweight, baby.
And just having buddies that going to the gym and lifting with them and having fun, that kind of bro time that I was lacking being in music school. Obviously you have it in a musical way, but to just go with buddies and lift and was missing, and that filled a void for me. So I came into Berkeley at 135 pounds, and I graduated at least 190.
Wow.
And I think also what fed it.
You had 60 pounds of muscle in that period of time.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's great.
You know what? I don't know if I realized it at the time, but I realized it after too. So when I when I came to Berkeley, and you would have seen this photo the other day, I had long hair.
Right,
I posted it on my
Yeah, you
Instagram.
did.
So
Yeah.
curly, wavy hair down here, and so I had curly hair, long hair in Lewiston. I went to St. Dom's High School, which is like a private Catholic high school. Only guy, obviously, with long hair. The school hated it because we had uniforms and
Yeah, you had to keep your hair off the collar, right?
yeah. And so I
So we share the Catholic school
Yeah,
experience as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
right? Which you'll read about in the book Becoming Undeniable as well. So
awesome.
Bob, same here. Kindergarten through college, Catholic school.
Yeah. So I get to Berkeley, and every guy has long hair.
yeah, of course.
And so I have to cut it. So I cut it my first year there to stand out. And once I started working out, it wasn't my intent, but as I started building muscle, I was the muscle guy, right? That was kind of a cool thing. It's like, I've never been that guy. Now I'm that guy. People are like, oh, you know who you should get for guitar for your band? The muscle guy.
So that became like your calling card.
Yeah. And what really helped me there was it now became a bartering tool. So if there was a drummer that was in the school at the time named Thomas Pridgeon, an absolute monster of a drummer. He was 16 touring with Destiny's Child.
Oh, wow.
At 16, right?
Wow, no kidding.
And he came to Berkeley at 18, 19. And all of the drum teachers would sit around his practice room listening to him practice, saying, we don't even understand how he's doing that. So I wanted to do a gig with him. I was putting together a gig. And it's like, imagine if I could get him in my band for this gig, right? Everybody would want to come. But who am I? But one day I was walking to class, and Thomas goes, shit, man, how do I get arms like you? And I didn't know him. So I said, well, come to the gym with me. I'll show you. And he goes, awesome, when? So we exchanged numbers, came to the gym with me, we lifted. And then I had that, hey, would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Right? And I realized right then that, okay, if I can, it's sort of the reciprocity, right?
Yeah,
If
of
I do
course.
something nice for somebody, genuinely trying to help them, they'll probably want to help me for my thing. And the fitness thing really, when you're at a music school, you had, at that time, American Idol was just starting, all these girls wanting to audition and have a certain look. I had some value now that I could say, hey, you want to lose 15 pounds in the next 3 months. I can help you. I know how to do that now. In exchange, will you do my gig with me?
That's
or
cool.
sing on this demo
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to record.
Yeah, that's cool.
That leads to a question. So, coming from Berkeley, did you have a lot, where there's so many talented musicians, would you have a lot of students trying out for American Idol? I don't know if The Voice was out yet. Was that the thing back when you were
Yeah,
there?
it was only American Idol that had just started. This was like 2000. I was there 99 to 03, so American Idol was the only one. Singers had just started trying out. That was, and you might have had, I don't know if you had, we were talking about earlier, like Making the Band, those shows,
Yes.
right? Obviously, that's much more produced with a producer, I'm assuming, scripting some things versus, although American Idol probably is too, for all we know, right? But that was the only show at the time. At that time, yeah. So singers thought that was their big break. If I can only make it on this show, I'll get discovered, I'll be famous.
And you look how much it's exploded since then.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so many careers made off of that, right? From not only that show, all of the spin-off shows, The Voice being one of the big ones now.
So you told me before you started off as a music therapy major. Do you want to talk about that and how you evolved and kind of?
Yeah, that was my, so when I got accepted to Berkeley, I always wanted to be a touring guitar player, not the the face, the Nuno Betancourt, the Joe Satriani, the Steve Vai. I wasn't trying to be the front person. I wanted to just be the great guitar player that could tour with different artists. And but I knew that wasn't going to come easy, so I would need some type of day job while I worked towards that. And so my thinking when I first came to the school was, I'll do music therapy. That way I can get a job as a music therapist, still gig at night. It's a day job. And so I signed up for that program, and you quickly realize you have to be all in. You have to love it, working with special needs children, seniors with dementia. And I took about a year of classes, and I loved it, but I also realized that if I had that job and a touring opportunity came up, I would leave it in a second for the touring opportunity. And you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out with that type of social work. So I knew at that point I just needed to go all in on the thing that I wanted to do and find another day job. So I switched to guitar performance then.
So you're in the you're getting going in the fitness. At what point did you transition where I'm going to start to compete?
So I graduate Berkeley and I need the day job. Now we talked about, right? I'm not going to do music therapy. So I loved lifting. I was helping people all at Berkeley. So I decided to be a trainer. I was a trainer for 2 years. I kept adding muscle, and I kept getting asked. I was working at a Bally Total Fitness in Cambridge, Mass. And people always asked me if I competed. And but I loved it. I just didn't know the first thing to do it. And I did my first show, I think 2005. And I got my butt whooped. It was the New England's, which you just got to see.
We Apex Lifestyles was one of the sponsors of that event.
Yes, exactly. So I did that. I believe it was 2005, and I had a coach. And when it came to my Bally Total Fitness in Cambridge, I was the most in shape person in the best shape of that gym. So I had some confidence going into the show, and I got killed. I was like 12th place out of 18 guys. And the physiques that were there were mind-blowing. So, but I knew, like, I'm so competitive when I used to do martial arts or baseball, that I'm like, I didn't even know what to do with that. Like, I competed and I got 12th place. What is going on here? So I committed the whole next year to, I'm going to do another show in a year, and I'm going to do much better. And I learned a lot. I followed what the coach had me do, but along the way, a lot didn't make sense. This particular coach didn't believe in any cardio, so I just starved myself. It was no food. I was weak all the time.
I'm going to tell you something. Nate believes in cardio.
Yeah,
so I know that firsthand. You know what I mean? It's like I think over the next 4 months, my job will be doing cardio, lifting, and prepping food.
Yeah.
And then doing dentistry and podcasting on the side. Just saying. Yeah.
From a wheelchair.
Right. Yeah.
But I instinctively knew at that point. So this particular coach was very old school. Like in the Arnold era, they didn't do cardio. It was just they lifted twice a day and they cut out all their carbs and they got lean that way. In modern day bodybuilding, we believe in you have to feed yourself. If you don't feed yourself, you don't have energy, your lifts suffer, and you get into a deficit by expending more energy by doing cardio, but you make sure you're very well fed so you have energy. So I adjusted that on my own going into the second show, saying I was miserably tired all the time. I lost all my strength when I was lifting. I would rather eat more and then just do cardio to compensate. And so I did. And so I did a show a year later and I won that show. And that was a really life-changing event for me because I went from competing and getting killed to, okay, now I need to self-correct. Like the plan that I had wasn't the right plan. And so I'm going to adjust and I'm going to give it my all for the next year. And if I still do terrible, then this isn't for me. But I won. And a light bulb went off at that point. I was like, I've never applied myself to anything like I did over this last year of coming up with a plan but constantly monitoring, is this working? I have a new plan to build my legs. I'm going to try it for the next 2 months. Are my legs growing? Are they not? Try something else. And so for a year, I just gave it my all, but it paid off. And there was sort of a confidence that came with that, oh my God, if I did this, what if I applied that same process to other areas of my life that I went all in on? I had a plan. I constantly revisited that plan to say, is this working? Is it not? If it's not, then that's good data. I can adjust. I can learn from that. I'm not just blindly following something.
Yeah, isn't that interesting, right? That's all that you can garner, knowledge that you can garner out of learning how to manipulate your physique, because it's all encompassing, right? You have to actually do exactly what you said, monitor what you're doing, measure it, make adjustments, and continue to do it over time with the faith that something's going to happen.
Yes.
Right? And if you apply those lessons to the rest of your life, you can be successful in any endeavor that you choose.
100%.
Right? For instance, like Dennis and I just started this show back in March, and we already have a silver button. So, and it's because we did a deep dive in how to do this.
what's working, what's not working,
Yeah.
what do we need to
And we
pivot
constantly did it, but it's the same thing
100%.
that helped me get through my 200-pound transformation.
Yeah.
Right, and you're going to help me put the cherry on top at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but I'm a little afraid of, to be honest with you. But
Well, I picked up on something. So you're at Bally's, you're the king of the castle there. You know it, but then you go there and you realize that God, there's some pretty stiff competition out there. As you're training others and you prepare yourself for show, do you put yourself around others that are highly competitive to motivate you? Do you think that's because I grew up playing basketball, and you can go to the courts and you pick one side of the court where you'll dominate every game, or you go to that side of the court where you're going to get your butt whooped, but you're going to get better. Does that equate to bodybuilding at all
Yeah,
as well?
very much.
Okay.
At that time, I didn't do that because I don't think I had that mindset yet at that time. Now, absolutely. I'm always trying to find the next workout partner that is going to kick my butt. I will obviously get into Jose Raymond, who's been my mentor in bodybuilding the last 6 years or so. But I would be scared for every workout with Jose. I just wanted to survive it. And I couldn't do anywhere near his weights. But there was always this, every workout with Jose, he'd do his set, hack squat, plates all the way out. And we've got to take 3 or 4 offside off for me. And there was, okay, I'll get to where he's at someday, and that was absolutely instrumental. And now in every era of my life, I'm always looking for a mentor. Who's somebody that is where I want to be, has done that, because, I sort of jokingly call it the cheat codes, right? Give me the cheat codes of how to get there faster. You figured this out. So at that time when I was 24, 25, I didn't think that way. One of the best things with the personal training job I had was the range of people that I got to train and meet and eventually befriend. Some really smart and successful people. And I'm spending 3-4 hours a week with them every week. And you realize some of these people, you have some people that when you're a trainer, people tend to have extra income, right, to be able to hire you, train with you 3-4 times a week. Some of these people were trust fund kids, and they had millions of dollars, but they didn't earn it. Other people, you realize they earned it, and everything they do is successful. I need to pick up on what this is just by being around them. And so early on, one of my early clients was Harvard undergrad going to MIT for his PhD. Later on became a Harvard Business School professor. And he was absolutely instrumental at a point in my life where I just didn't believe in myself, but he believed in me. And so I was a trainer for 3 years at Bally's, and Bally's offered me a manager position of a different location. And in order to take it, I would have to give up all of my clients. And as you've seen working with me, I'm invested, right? Like,
for sure.
I know your story. I know how bad you want it. I want it just as much. And so I had 3 years of working with people that in order to take this management job, I'd have to give them all up. And then there was the unknown. I have a degree in guitar. How am I going to be managing a gym of trainers? And so my instinct, and I talked to my parents, and they're like, yeah, probably just stay where you are. And my instinct was, what if I suck at it? What if I'm not a good manager? I lost everything. And so I was talking to this client one day, and he's like, no, you wouldn't. We're still here. You've done this. You can do this. That's an opportunity to learn and grow. I know you can do it. And if you have any challenges along the way, you come to me and we'll figure it out together. And that one little moment absolutely changed my trajectory. Of one, a really smart person saying, you can do this. And if you're stuck, I'm in your corner and I'll help you figure it out. And then he's like, I know you'll succeed, but if you don't like it, you've done this. We all love you. You can always come back here, right? You're not losing anything. So I took that job and I really succeeded in it. And it allowed me to manage and delegate and learn all of these skills that I didn't learn in college. I didn't go to business school. And that led to another opportunity of which I wasn't sure. I went back to that friend again and he's like, we'll figure it out. So from that moment on, I was probably 26 or so at that time. I learned the power of a mentor and finding somebody who can think without maybe the emotion you're feeling at a time, who's been there, who can see the path multiple steps ahead. And I've sought those out since that point.
It's interesting. My background, I've been a special educator for 30 years and also a college professor / running student success. That's my whole philosophy. Building the confidence in individuals and helping guiding them towards the path of success. A lot of people don't have, I don't say a lot of people, but you run across students or individuals in life that they don't have that confidence, and you see it in them, that they don't see it in themselves yet, but that individual helped guide you. And as they guided you, it sounds like, well, obviously, look at your trajectory, your confidence grew and you did it. And that's a great thing about a mentor. So that's an incredible example. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's something that now I realize is so important when I work with people in person, online, is if you don't believe you can do it, then you're not going to do the work, right? Like talk about having faith that you can get there. It makes, because it's such delayed gratification with what you're trying to do. And there's a lot of missed fun by having to go to the gym and do the cardio and not have the dessert and not go out drinking with the guys and have the late night, all for having faith that it'll pay off, right?
Yeah.
And the sad part is there's a lot of people who may not be on the right plan who are doing the things and it doesn't pay off, right? And you have a couple of those experiences and you kind of give up. So a lot of what I do as a coach is certainly have the right plan for the individual. You know, we were chatting in the other day about some of these plans, like 75 Hard, right?
Yep.
That they're great plans, but not for everybody, you know? And a lot of people I know that have done 75 Hard were just not ready for that. They needed to...
Yeah, they didn't have the foundation
yes.
done, yeah.
And so for other people, they may jump in and it's exactly what they need, you know? But for someone else, you have to walk before you can run. And so for me, being a coach is saying, what does this person have going on in their life? What's their job? You know, can they go to the gym twice a day to do cardio, to lift, or cardio outside and lift at night? Can they meal prep? What are their stressors? And you try and work within the boundaries that they have so that they can succeed. And a big part of it too is they need to believe they can do it. So it's trying to instill the confidence. You know, Bob got to see, I work with a lot of young people for their first bodybuilding shows. I had a couple people in the show that Bob was a sponsor of, and 21 years old, 22 years old, and they're up on stage, as you'll soon find out, almost naked. You know,
for sure.
Being judged, you know.
Of course.
And
you had to remind me.
and so this last show, I put so much work into giving these young women self-belief and making it so much more than getting ready for the big game day. That's a lot of, I see a lot of people go wrong of, like, even for you, we'll use you as an example because it's a great example. We're not doing this work for your show in, it's April, right?
April, yeah.
And thinking game day April, right? Like, and it's all to win the show. This is so much bigger than that, as you know, right? It's creating habits and making you better than you even believe you could be. And not only physically, it's so much more than building muscle and losing fat. It's strengthening your mind, your own self-belief of what you're capable
100%,
of.
100%, yeah.
And one of the things I really, you know, I had a couple girls in this last Jay Cutler NPC New England show, and you don't know how they're going to do. You don't know who's going to show up. You could have a handful of girls show up that are pro caliber, that they're going to do that show to qualify to go to a national show, win their pro card, and go on to be great pros. And you could have a girl that looks incredible who all of a sudden is third or fourth place. And her expectations were to win. So for these girls, I put so much effort into show day is graduation day. And we're celebrating the work that you did every day. Every small victory you had of alarm going off and you not wanting to get up and do cardio, but you did.
At 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Every day.
And the, all the adversity you faced and you stuck to the plan. I try to treat these shows way less as we're getting ready for the big day, the big game day. And it all comes down to this day and we're here to win. Because you see so many people do all of the work, have an amazing transformation, and not get the placing they were expecting, to throw their hands up and say, well, this was all a waste. And so I want to instill in these people that however you place, this is walking across the stage. There's going to be people at a graduation who are valedictorian, who get special awards. That doesn't mean you're any less successful.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's been a real game changer in my coaching. And I've been so proud. These girls that I had to show, they also did really well. And they were so present the day of the show that I don't know if you got to see these women.
I did. Yeah, they were great.
The smiles on their face.
And the confidence that they displayed at that show was beyond their years for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's been so fulfilling for me. And the other great thing is these girls have come out of this show back to work, but with balance in their life.
Yep.
Which is another skill, right? Going all in anything in life, right? And go all in, but not burning bridges while you're going after one thing. Can you give it your all while still maintaining a relationship, maintaining a career?
That's such a big topic that Dennis and I actually have talked about doing a show specifically on that topic of balance and trying to figure that out. As you know, Dennis and I have both day jobs, right? But then we've also written books. We have two children's books already done. We have another one in the works. We just finished Becoming Undeniable. We have this podcast going. We have other stuff going that you and I have talked about briefly, but we're not ready to kind of.
Yeah. But a little early for early phase.
A little early on it, but we've been going all out, and then trying to do this prep for this show that I'm doing. It becomes how do you show up for your family and all those things, right? So that's a big time. A big time topic that we should probably broach at some other point, but
100%. And then you really have me in this. You have these people walking across. Everybody's a champion that walks across that stage. I mean, as I mentioned before, I love basketball. People watch the NBA and like, oh, that guy's trash. That guy's like, wait a second. To step in a court and tie your shoelaces, you're a champion already. Yeah. But then there's champions within the champions. But I mean, we like you said, you competed, got 12th out of 18th, and everybody looks to the left and right and they wonder what they did differently. But that's a great thing that you're instilling, is finding what are those victories in that day. And it sounds like that's what you're doing, which is great, because that's going to build the confidence and help get them going in whatever facet of life they're going to go.
Yeah, it's my own journey. When I was competing as an amateur, competed at 24, 25 or 25, 26, got that victory and said, what if I applied this to the rest of my life? And I did. And I knew I had a certain skill set to hire trainers, train trainers, manage trainers. And I said, what if I really go all in on that? And so I built a career in fitness. And, fast forward, at one point, I was the president of personal training of a big national gym chain, overseeing 70 gyms, over 700 trainers, many millions of dollars a year of revenue, and sitting in a boardroom with people worth hundreds of millions of dollars doing projections and going out in the field and giving talks to clubs of trainers and being out in the gym floor mentoring trainers, saying, all right, we're going to go out here and talk to members and get them to sign up for training. And that whole process I did. 13 years later, I got back to competing. And that was thanks to Jose Raymond, when I met him.
We're actually segueing into my next question.
Yeah.
It's like, take us down the road of winning your IFBB Pro card. Like, tell us that story, bring us through, and how did that transpire?
Yeah, that starts with Jose, 100%. If I hadn't met Jose, I wouldn't have even competed. So fast forward to, I've had a lot of success in the personal training space. I had companies that I outsourced the training of gyms. So I would go to the gym owners and say, let me run your training. I'd put a fitness manager in, hire the trainers. I had a business that provided trainers to luxury high-rise buildings, condos, apartment buildings. I'd go to management and say, you have this great gym, you have residents, lots of sketchy trainers coming in and out. Let me provide great trainers, and you just deal with me. So I did that, the big nationwide thing. My own fitness fell off a little bit. I still worked out, but I had no passion anymore. And I missed the days when I was training like an animal. So I wanted to get back to that. So I'd spoken to the girlfriend about maybe hiring a trainer for a few sessions to kick my butt, light a flame, re-inspire me to train maybe in a different way. And I thought about, is there a pro bodybuilder? I wasn't thinking of competing, but is there somebody at that level I could learn from? Because I like that style of training. And
it's so hard to find, too, these days, right?
The only person I could find in the Massachusetts area was Jose. And I didn't know if he coached, if he trained. I just knew of him. It's, Jay Cutler is the biggest in our area. Jose's probably the second biggest in terms of, there were big names, Mike Matarazzo, Paul DeMeo, these guys that had big splashes for a few years. And unfortunately, all those guys are deceased. Jose had like a 10-year run as a very successful IFBB Pro, one of the best in the world. And he's local. He lives in Peabody. At the time he was training in Revere. So I had mentioned it to the girlfriend. I started watching his YouTube videos. And for Christmas, we're talking 7 years ago this December, she bought me 3 sessions with Jose as a Christmas present. Didn't know him. Walked in. The plan was just do those 3 sessions. Take that information and just apply it. I had been a trainer for so long, I wasn't thinking of continuing to work with him. At the end of those 3 sessions, I loved it so much that I said, I'm gonna keep this going once a week with him. And we were maybe 2 months in, and my girlfriend was getting ready to do her first show. She had picked a show that was like 4 months out. And she was trying to get me to compete with her just because we lived together. It would make her life easier. So much easier, right? And I was like, no. I was 38 at the time. 37, 38, and I'm like, I've been out for 13 years. I wouldn't even stand a chance. I'll support you, but I don't want to do it. So she bugged Jose our next session. And Jose basically said, do this show that's in 3 or 4 months. I'll coach you and you can win. And it was what we talk about with that mentor, right? Saying, I'll get you there. I'm in your corner. And not only can you do well, you can win this show. And I'll make sure of it, right? So I said, what do I have to lose? I'll probably embarrass myself, but there's a chance. And he's all in on me. So I'm going to get this great mentor. So I did it. We did the show. I won Classic Physique, and I took 2nd place in bodybuilding. And my girlfriend won the whole show overall, her first show.
Yeah.
And that gave me the bug. So I kept continuing with Jose. We picked the Jay Cutler Classic the next year. And I won light heavyweight bodybuilding, and I won masters bodybuilding, and then did show. And Jose at that time, I didn't understand how this worked. I just was thinking you just do a bodybuilding show and that's it. And Jose explained that qualifies you to do a national show. And the national show are all the people that won the regional shows. And then you can go on and get your pro card. And I didn't think that was possible. I had also, especially at my age, right? At that time I was 38, 39. It's like that opportunity has passed me. If I was in my 20s or early 30s, maybe I'd go for it. And I saw a lot of older guys in the gym, their 15th year of going for their pro card, and they had no career, and they were all in bodybuilding, and it was just not productive for them. They had made so many sacrifices in their life, and you just knew it just was never going to happen. Whether it was their genetics or their plan was a bad plan, they were not even close. So I didn't want to be that guy, but Jose is like, you're not that guy. You can do it. So it was Universe in, I believe, 2020 or 2021. We did Universe, and I won the 35 and up and 40 and up, not only my weight class, but the overall. So technically earned 2 pro cards that day, although it doesn't matter. And my initial plan was when I get the pro card, I'm done. That's the top of the mountain that I'm climbing. And I'll be thrilled. For about 4 years of my life, I committed. I'm going to maximize everything. Every workout's going to count. Every night's sleep is going to be a perfect night's sleep. Every meal's going to be there. Every cardio is going to. I'm not going to miss a cardio session, miss a meal. Trained with Jose 2-3 times a week and went all in and made it happen, which was incredible. One of my best achievements because of the effort that it took to get there, right? It was very much earned. And
well, everything in bodybuilding is earned.
Yeah.
You can't fake that.
No. So yeah, absolutely a highlight. And first started with Jose believing in me when I didn't believe in me, and continually believing in me, right? Because he believed in me to do that first show, and then believed in me to go do a national show. And he's still in my corner now as I'm doing pro shows. I'm like, well, I think I can make top 5. That would be a real, top 5 on a pro show is incredible. That's like making it to the final 4 of a major sports team. It's like, it's amazing just to be playing. It's another thing to be one of those guys. And Jose still is like, listen to you, selling yourself short, of top 5. You can win, So I still have him moving the yardstick of what the next goal is.
That's fantastic, man. I mean, that's a great story. I mean, think about that. You go to music school, you become a guitar player, and now you're an IFBB Pro. You've done all this training stuff too prior to that, right? And now the next iteration, right? We'll get into a little bit more about the training and all that later, but I'm really interested in what was the ideation with GymHub? What gave you the inspiration to go do that?
Yeah,
it's a very unique place. I mean, I've been to lots of gyms all over the country, and in fact, just a couple weeks ago, I was at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, like the mecca of bodybuilding.
Yeah,
and your place is special, man. And like, there's a special vibe when you go in there, and even the people there. There's a bodybuilding gym very close to where we are right now, and my former coach coaches out of there, and it's definitely, there's bodybuilders in there, right? There's definitely people who are into fitness competitors, what have you. But at your place, like, I've been there since August, and I only go maybe once a week or so because it's a little bit of a drive. But I know many of the people already. I've had conversations with them. They're all in my, it's been an amazing thing. And actually to be there and, see Jose Raymond over there training somebody is just kind of surreal in a way, So, and to be able, I was just chatting, was it yesterday or the day before? I don't remember. Me and
yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
We were just chatting real quick. So that's kind of cool. And speaking back to, getting into a room of competitors that are better than you, right? I'm like the fattest, oldest guy in that place. You know what I mean? And just
Jose's catching up to you, though. Jose's going the other way.
Yeah. Well, I've already beat him in the age department.
Yeah.
But anyway, but just to be there is just really inspiring. In fact, I was talking to Josh Brown quite a bit, actually. I know we dropping some names here, but he won the NPC this year.
The New England, yep.
The New England NPC, and he's such a nice guy. He was talking to, Nicholas, who came in, young kid, teaching him how to do some stuff, and inspiring to eat. Is one of the things that was kind of cool. But yeah, tell the listeners, like, how did you? Tell us first of all about GymHub, like what makes it different, and then what inspired you to do that. Yeah,
crazy story of how as I mentioned to you before, a lot of happy accidents. So about GymHub, it's such a unique concept. You don't even know how to describe it. We're serving two masters. The original business plan was to be a gym for independent trainers, was to be a spot where people like myself, Jose, we're not going to go work in a commercial gym. We're not going to be a trainer at Equinox making $30 an hour. With our experience and the people that seek us out, you need a place where you can earn the best living, have the best tools to train people in. So that was the initial business plan, was to be this private gym that the best trainers from around the state came to run their business, like a WeWork for trainers, and to give them the best tools, the best equipment. And then after that, we eventually decided to open it up to everybody. It was only going to be a spot for trainers. And then as I posted about all of the equipment we were buying, some of the rarest equipment from around the world, everybody was messaging me saying, bro, you have to let me train there. This is my dream gym.
Like, some of the stuff there's bespoke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's just really incredible stuff, like that swing squat thing.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Being musicians and people that have been around music, I relate it to my musician friends to like a recording studio. When you have the best recording studio, it's everything's handpicked in there for a reason, right? This Marshall amp from the 60s is there because that Marshall Plexi is that sound, or this Vox amp, or this original Gibson Les Paul, or this 50s Strat, right? You have it for exactly what it does, and there's nothing better. That's my gym. Is every last machine is handpicked for a reason. Or you'd have microphones, right? Certain singers want a certain microphone, and so every machine was handpicked. Jose and I went around the country to the best gyms, tried everything, made a list, and this is the best hack squat, this is the best chest press, trying everything that's out there. And some things are brand new, and we were able to order them new, and some things are 30 plus years old, and you have to find it. You know, it's like collecting old cars or collecting watches. And you deal with brokers who know, I know somebody that has a home gym and they have that 30-year-old leg press you're looking for. Here's their number. Call them and see if you can get them to sell it to you. Like, that was the level that we were at. So the gym kind of serves two things: a spot for independent trainers, and probably the most well-equipped, well thought out bodybuilding gym. And I say that, sometimes that has a stigma when you say bodybuilding gym. Yeah. But I'm trying to fight that, because when you come into GymHub, it blows that stigma away. Right?
100%.
And bodybuilding becomes a positive term, right? It's
100%.
People who are there to get something done. And we give you the best tools and the best environment to get that done, wherever you're at, right? Your goals. Have you met Tony yet in the gym?
No, not yet.
So Tony's an incredible story as well. I bring him up all the time because it's one of the things I love most about the gym. You've got people like Josh Brown, young kids that have incredible physiques that train really, really hard, and you kind of expect that at a bodybuilding gym. Tony's story is Tony did bodybuilding in his 20s, and very much like my own, did some shows and gave it up to focus on a career. And he partnered with Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank,
Yep.
Mr. Wonderful, and was part of the Learning Company, Kevin's very, very successful company that he sold for billions of dollars. So Tony's had a lot of success. He's retired now, and found my gym about a year and a half ago, and came in and, wow, this is what gyms used to be like for me back in Jersey, and there's nothing like this in Boston. They're all sort of spa gyms, and fell in love with bodybuilding again. And 40 years later, got back on the stage with Jose coaching him.
I got to meet this guy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And the energy he brings to the gym of coming in for he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. But he's also successful. And that's what I want in the gym. Is everybody is there with laser-like focus of here's what I'm here to accomplish today. But they're good people. You assume in bodybuilding gyms it's big angry guys eyeing you down, checking out your girl.
That's just it, though. It's not.
No.
So you have the nothing against the what is it they call it, the no intimidation zone or whatever they call it, right? Or judgment free zone is the tagger of that. I feel more judged in one of those gyms than I do at GymHub.
Yeah.
And everybody there is like there for a reason.
Yeah.
And they're some of the people in that gym are some of the most approachable people I've ever met.
I think part of it is, we jokingly call the gym a speakeasy gym, right?
It's
we
hidden.
have no signage. It's completely hidden. It's in an old office building, which, we were joking about before. The building that the gym is in is the home of the original Ponzi scheme.
That's amazing.
Carlo Ponzi had his office there.
Yeah.
And so it's in this very historic part of Boston, very historic building, and we're down in the basement. We have no signage, and that's intentional. I'm deeded in our lease signs. But part of it was what I wanted this gym to be was everything we were talking about, of a place of mentors, a place of this is the club. And if you know about it and you walk through the door, I already like you, right? And so it's this like members only club. If you're coming in here, it's not because it says gym on the street and you're just checking it out and you're going to sit on a machine on your phone. You're coming in because you found this somehow. Somebody told you about it. Somebody sent you our Instagram page, and you looked at it and saw the equipment that we have, the people that are training there, Jay Cutler training there. and said, that's where I want to be. And just walking through the door, it's like, you're one of us. So there's a community there that when somebody's gone out of their way to even find us and come through the gym and work out, you're in it for the same reasons we are, which is to better yourself, and you're there to work. And so you have this community that you instantly have respect for that. If you're here to work wherever you're at, if you need to lose another 150 pounds, but you're here to work, high five, let me know if you need a spot. You know?
So it's almost like it's self-selecting.
Yeah.
In a way.
That's exactly.
You know.
So we have this community of amazing trainers who aren't these trainers you'd find at most gyms. I've been doing this for 6 months. I just got certified. I'm trying this out. I don't know what I'm doing. They're career, lifelong trainers. This is all I do all day. And they're so thankful to have this space where they can earn a really good living and have this great equipment. And one of the things for the gym, you know, if I were to bullet point our highlights, certainly I reference the equipment. Nobody beats us for equipment in this area. We also have a reservation system, so we don't sell memberships. You're reserving a spot like you would a yoga class, a cycling class, and we cap the gym at 20 people. So you reserve your block of time, and it's our promise that the gym's never going to be overcrowded, and every time you come, you're going to have a great workout, and you won't have to wait for equipment. Now, that's absolutely to the detriment of the money the gym could be making, right? But essentially, the gym started out, all of the kind of bullet points, I think what makes the gym great, was me saying, what would my dream gym be? What would I want it to be? Not thinking about making money. It is, I want great equipment. I want an atmosphere of the right type of people. And I don't want it to be crowded. I want to have a great workout that gym is so sacred to me, of my time, of I'm going in and I'm going to have a great workout and I need to accomplish this. That you go into a crowded gym and you could have the perfect mindset outside that door. Here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to hit chest. I'm going to set a PR for my dumbbell chest press. I'm going to, do X, Y, and Z, and walk into the gym and it's overcrowded and that plan goes out the window.
Drives you nuts. I use a Planet Fitness right next to my house, and once you're working out, you really want to keep it going. And then you have to change your workout because there's 4 people backed up in a machine.
Yeah.
And the mindset that you have when you go in is just destroyed.
Yeah.
And so that, I've never heard of that before, and that sets you apart. Also with the no signage, and you guys have a great social media platform. How much does social media help? Because I mean, no signage, and you're putting out some serious content.
It's everything. It's everything. And I have to say, very thankful to others. There was thought when I built the gym of having great lighting, having black walls that shadow well, so like you look great in the gym, you want to take pictures. I knew that much coming in, that there were gyms I would go to where I look in the mirror and I go, oh shit, I look great in here. This is great lighting. And it puts me in a good mood, and I want to train harder and I want to train longer. And there's other gyms with total shit lighting, and every time you look in the mirror, you're like, oh, I look like shit. And you want to leave, you know? So I knew we needed to get the right lighting. The black walls do well to create shadows and make everything pop. So there were little things that we were intentional about. Having this neon GymHub sign that people would instinctively stand under to take photos, and our posing room has awesome lighting, but it's worked out well in that I haven't done a whole lot on social media. We don't have a YouTube channel. There's so much that I need to do, but others have done it for us. We've created, you go into an Equinox, you can't set up a tripod and film, right? They don't want anything to do with that. We provide tripods in the gym. And so we create an environment where people can create their content. And thankfully, because it self-selects itself, people are doing it in a respectful way.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So there's I've been in gyms and there's tripods set up right in the middle of where you're trying to work out, but everyone there is very cognizant of that.
Yeah.
And I do like your posing room too. Like, just because if someone wants to go and do that, you can go in there and do your
so they're not taking their shirt off in the gym.
Yeah,
and
of course.
You try to problem solve this stuff. So there was a lot of effort initially put into, we want people to look good, feel good, set up tripods so they can film their content. And we were fortunate early on to get local fitness influencers posting and making content because there was no other place they could do it. Where it really took off for us was, there's a lot of luck involved in this gym. We'd been open a month, and Boston had a one and done IFBB Pro show, the Boston Pro. And we had only been open a month.
Actually.
Yeah. And all of these pros, also thanks to Jose, who's such a fixture in this gym, all of the pros competing in the show, the pros that were there to make an appearance, like Brandon Curry, Victor Martinez, but all of the pros competing came and trained in my gym, male and female. And we had a who's who of the sport 1 month into being open. Not only was it incredible of, wow, here's all of these people you look up to training in front of you, but all of these people had massive social media. This is how they make a living. And they filmed all of their content in the gym. There was daily posts and stories and YouTube videos. And that put us out there. And one of those people that came was Jay Cutler, who's become, Jose's always been close with, but I've been very, very fortunate to now call Jay a friend. And it's astronomical how much of a boost he's given us. Every time he's in the gym, he films a video for his YouTube channel, which has over 1 million subscribers. He makes posts on his Instagram, which is, last time I checked, 5.5 million. All of the platforms, right? And it's not just once. It's, if he's there for 3-4 days, it's every day. And we recently had, you might have been in the gym, there was a natural world bodybuilding championships. It's like the Mr. Olympia for natural drug-tested bodybuilding. And we had hundreds of people from over 40 countries come into the gym who were there for this show.
I think I met the woman who won the whole thing.
Yeah.
She was from Germany or Denmark or something.
Denmark.
Yeah. I met her, and I met her friend from Austria too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so as these people were coming in, we didn't market. We didn't say, oh, here's this show. How do we become a sponsor to be the official gym of the show? None of that. They found us. And as they were coming in, and I said, hey, how did you hear about us? They said, oh, Jay Cutler's YouTube. We knew that when you come to Boston, this is the gym to come to, right? That credibility Jay brings and the platforms that he has. So you're exactly right in that social media has been completely what's driven people to us. But it actually hasn't been me being like some social media genius, right? It's everybody else, the people that are using the space.
Right. But what's funny is I'm going to go back to the educational side of you, is you're talking about how you selected your equipment, like you're building that perfect sound, that perfect recording studio that you would want as a musician, the confidence that you instill in individuals, all these things, and training and everything. You're using a lot of the principles that you learned in music therapy and in your major and have applied it to your business, into life, and working with others, and just how you set things up. That's incredible. And you're building up the confidence of individuals to reach, as we talk about, their apex.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing work.
That's the gym for sure. I think, Bob can probably attest. It's my vision of, now that I have this gym, it's so much more than just a way to make money. There's so many things I could do to make way more money out of this gym. It's so secondary. The goal is the fulfillment that I get out of it, of something that I think the city needed. The city was just these spa type gyms or Planet Fitness. That's all we had.
Yep.
And I would have to drive an hour to find a real gym with great leg equipment living in the city. So it's like we checked the boxes, great equipment. Now the real skill is the atmosphere. The people that come are so important. There's people have asked me, hey, why don't you put your photo on the wall? We've got Jose and Jay Cutler and all these amazing people that have been to the gym. And I'm like, this is not about me. This is what makes the gym, is the Tonys, the Bobs, that's the community. That's what keeps people coming back. And the more that we're somewhat selective about that, and I can steer the ship a little bit in when we do put out content, the content that we put out of, I love that you came in and filmed you had a videographer come in and film a video,
yeah,
right?
We did some content there that I still haven't released all of it yet.
Yeah,
actually,
the clips that you've put out, I love that stuff because that's GymHub, right?
Yeah,
Your story is GymHub. Tony's story is GymHub. One of the things I was very conscious of when we did hire a videographer to make a lot of videos is it's 80% female. And I so want to break that stereotype. You know, I have a lot of successful business friends, and then when the gym started kind of going in this direction, they all warned me, and it was based off of their own stereotypes of, hey, careful, you don't want to open up a bodybuilding gym because that's not successful. That's going to scare the people you want away, right? So I heard that over and over and over again, and that just if the gym was filled with muscly people, men and women, in shape people, that would intimidate others and they wouldn't want to come.
Or it would motivate people.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, to me, and I've never stepped inside your gym, but the culture that you create there.
Yeah.
You've created the culture.
Well, you're going to come with me next weekend or
absolutely.
something like that. I'm going to bring you down.
I look forward to it, but it just sounds like, because, Bob, we obviously we talk a lot, and when that individual wasn't getting back to him, and one of my favorite things is one door closes, another one's opening, you got to go get it. And I just hear about the way he spoke about the gym, and I just learning from you. You have a culture where, it is judgment free without putting the sign on the wall.
It's not just that, it's inspirational too.
Yes.
So it inspires me to go there and see people do things that I can't do or how I want to aspire to become, And I think that's just awesome. And we've talked about, we have we're finishing up our Becoming Undeniable Challenge. And the winner of that gets a $25,000 makeover, smile makeover, and facial aesthetics by me, my team. And we're going to have a personal training session, and you've agreed to have me bring them down there.
Yep.
So, and I think you also agreed that you'll do the training session with them too.
Of course, yep.
Yeah, so
That's
looking
phenomenal.
forward to it.
Thank you for doing that. That's
It's gonna
incredible.
be pretty awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Before we wrap it up, you showed me a picture the other day, and I got real starry-eyed when I saw it. You had the opportunity to play Dream On with Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
He showed me the picture.
fire.
So tell us how that happened. I know we just changed gears big
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
right? But
yeah.
I needed to get this in
Yeah,
because this is a big
few
deal.
moments in my life, right? We mentioned Jay Cutler and stuff where it's like, I still pinch myself, right? Jay will text me, hey, buddy, what's going on? What are you up to? And I'm like, we were talking about with the people you meet in the music industry. You're like, how is this my life?
Crazy.
Yeah.
And that's still the pinnacle. I knew at that moment I'm not going to do anything in music that will ever top that. So the story on that is the Berkeley graduation concert, their convocation concert. Every year they pick the students for the band and they give out 1 or 2 honorary doctorate degrees. So just sheer luck. There was a jazz singer, I think Diane Reeves, got one of the honorary doctorate degrees, and Steven Tyler my year. And I auditioned and got picked to be one of 2 guitar players for the band. And this was out of well over 1,000, right, that wanted this spot. So I got the guitar player spot. Excuse me. And we were told Steven's not going to come up and sing, but it was every song had a different Berkeley vocalist. And I was just one of 2 guitar players in the band. So we rehearse. Graduation concert comes. My family's in the crowd. The graduation is like the next day. So family's in the crowd, and Steven Tyler and I believe his daughter and his mom and his dad, who were still alive at the time, are front row watching this tribute concert, playing all these Aerosmith songs. And the time comes up to get up and receive the honorary doctorate and give a quick speech. And everybody's cheering for him. We had not rehearsed anything with him at all. And I think they even asked him, do you want to sing something? He said, no, I want to sit back and watch these students. So everybody starts chanting, and you can tell that performer in him comes out, Everybody's chanting Steven, and he turns around and he says, all right, what can we do? And the next song slated, once he got off, was going to be Dream On. So I feel so bad that one singer that was their chance, they get booted.
Well, for good reason,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
And we had a whole, you can find it on YouTube if you look up like Berklee College of Music, Steven Tyler. A whole arrangement, whole string section, this beautiful intro of strings before the song even starts. He didn't know our arrangement at all. He had to wing it, and he killed it. And I still can put myself back in that place of that. I still get goosebumps, and that feeling of, getting off stage being like, did that just happen? And it was as good as you could imagine it being. This was Steven Tyler on the top of his game. This was 2003, Steven Tyler.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's a great memory.
Yeah, and I got to hang with him after, and he's exactly who you think he would be, one-on-one. He was so encouraging, and gave me a lot of compliments watching me play in the show. So what a highlight. I'm so glad the video's out there, so it's not just a story I'm telling, but there's a video to show.
You're not going to be some old guy when you're 80 telling your grandkids or whatever about
nobody believes it.
Steven Tyler, right?
Absolutely incredible. I still think before I retire in bodybuilding, the culmination will be posing to Dream On, in a show or something, and combining the two worlds.
Yeah. Nick, what my favorite question.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
That's a great question. Start finding mentors earlier, right? That was a real turning point for me that we talked about earlier. And with that comes believing in yourself. Anything that I've been fortunate to do has usually come from a mentor believing in me first and me earning that belief in myself through taking those steps. The other thing, I think this has been more of a newer journey for me, but I've been preaching it to everyone around me, is over the last year or so, after I became an IFBB Pro, one of the things they say when you become an IFBB Pro is that when you won your pro card is probably the last time you'll ever win again. And it changes your definition of competing and why am I doing this? Like, I may never win a show ever again. So do I want to put in all of this work that it takes to compete at such a high level to not win? And what does that mean? And so one of the things I did to unpack that was just work with a therapist weekly and figure out why am I doing this? What's my why? Right? And
wow, this is huge, man.
I'm very much, and I think we can probably all relate in this room. I know you from knowing you now is, when you're go, when you have so many moving targets and so many goals at once, there's very little time to reflect, because there's always something else to do. You finish one thing and you look at your schedule, I got to be here and I got to be here. And sometimes you're just grinding without even knowing your why anymore.
Yeah.
And whether it's, the story you've told me about in your book of, how you became heavy, but you were working really hard in some areas of your life, right?
Sure, yeah.
And in other areas, maybe you let that slide. And sometimes we need to sit back and think about what our why is. So I give that advice to everybody that I coach, especially these young people, is find a good therapist. I see someone every week, and it's setting aside that hour where he says, how was this week? How did this go for you? What does Nate need? And that's always, that one line always replays in my head. And sometimes what Nate needs is to say no.
Yeah.
No to a client, no to an appointment, no to an opportunity.
Yep.
And there's anybody that's in this space, there's a podcast that I've been obsessed with. I've recommended it to a lot of people. There's a podcast host named Chris Williamson.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome.
Great job. He just did a podcast with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I look at him for inspiration, too.
Yes, great job. And he had Chris Bumstead on.
Oh,
he's done 2 episodes with Chris, and the most recent one dropped the day after he won his last Olympia and retired. And they recorded that podcast, I believe, 3 weeks out from the Olympia. And it really spoke to me because it was talking about how do you give your all to something and not be lost in it and burn bridges with loved ones, family, manage a career. And Chris has done it at the highest level. He's incredibly successful at business. He's got a great woman with a child now, and he's winning at the highest level at the Olympia. So I've really looked to him. And what I appreciate most, in the bodybuilding world, it's a lot of macho bullshit. It's a lot of insecure, wounded people who built up a lot of armor, right? Who maybe got picked on when they were younger, had a hard childhood and you go, I'll show you. Now no one will mess with me, right? And so sometimes what comes with that is you don't feel, right? Like, you'll always hear the expression, gym is my therapy, and sometimes, I had a really hard day, I'm just going to go and lift. It's like, no, you still have to deal with shit, so therapy is therapy. Gym is a great way to let out steam, but you still have to,
you have to unpack it all.
Unpack stuff, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So a long-winded answer, but I think it's something, at least in the bodybuilding world, that is not talked about enough, and whatever you need that for. For me, it was just a lot of saying, what does Nate need? And that's helped me with what I want GymHub to be, which is more than just making a buck. What I want my bodybuilding career to be, what I want my friendships around me to be, what I want my relationship with my girlfriend to be. And that 1 hour a week with the therapist is absolutely essential for me to unpack stuff and think about, how did this week go? What does Nate need for this coming week? And making decisions based off of that.
And it's that outside perspective that with that individual, with somebody that doesn't have any ties to you,
Right.
a family member, a friend, whatever, and we all can use that in our lives. That's great advice to anybody.
Yeah,
This is phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much for all of that. What kind of what's the future hold for GymHub and for Nate? And I guess start with future for Nate. In the bodybuilding world, maybe the guitar world, business world, and then what happens with GymHub? What's the future plans for all of that?
Yeah, so for me, at least, I'm still figuring that out. I'm for sure going to compete in 1 or 2 pro shows next year. I'm just starting my off season, which is where we sort of call it our improvement season. I eat a lot of food. I train really hard. I hope to build muscle in the right places to present an even better physique, more symmetrical, to be more competitive in the pro ranks. So I'll do an off season. I'll compete maybe June, July-ish. There's still the possibility. They've announced a Masters Mr. Olympia in Tokyo, Japan, end of August.
Wow.
And you either qualify for it or you apply for a special invite. I think I'm going to apply for a special invite, and then if I get selected, I may do that, which is kind of a once in a lifetime.
Well, you'll have to keep me in the loop on that, because I think Tokyo's on my bucket list anyway.
Yeah.
What a better way to go and check it out.
Yeah.
Is to go and support you in that way. That'd be awesome.
So part of it, in my competing, the work I'm doing with the therapist is, what do I want this to be? Certainly I before I retire, I want to make top 5 in a pro show. That's a resume builder that, if somebody, it's one thing to be a pro. There's a lot of pros out there who've done nothing with it. A pro that makes top 5 is something I want to check that box. So after that, it really is now about creating memories and experiences and using these shows as a way to then look back and say, wow, I did that. I met this person through this show. The friendships that you develop, the memories, because right now I never in a million years thought I would be an IFBB Pro. So now that I am, it's like I'm a kid in a candy store. I'm on stage with people I've been following for years. So let me be very present. Let me selectively pick shows that I think maybe it's a city I haven't visited. Go with the girlfriend and be able to visit that city and make great memories. So that's the competing side. Music-wise, I'm very much overdue to get back to playing. That's always my personal struggle, is going all in on bodybuilding, but making time for guitar. They're 2 different directions of expression.
Completely different.
Yeah. So I hope this next year, for years I played with wedding bands, cover bands. I want to at least get back into playing with some cover bands just as an outlet, throughout Boston. Great news is I'm still friends. I go out and support all of these local amazing musicians, that it's just a matter of making the call and saying, hey, I'm available to sub if you need me, and I'll start getting the call. So music-wise, that's the next thing. GymHub-wise, it's been a lot of happy accidents, as I've said a lot. And there's a part of, certainly we want to continue to grow the community. And what's been amazing, we're going to hit 3 years in January that we've been open, so we're just about 3 years. And every month we grow, and this is such a niche of a niche business. The last I knew was like 18% of the population has a gym membership. And we're a small fraction, right? For people that are really into this and care about environment and care about equipment. That's not the person going to Planet Fitness, or maybe they do care about environment, but they're thinking everyone is out of shape like me, so I'll feel comfortable, right? We're the person that you say, when we talk about mentors, I want to go someplace where everybody is more experienced than me and I can learn from them. I can make friends, right? That whole circle of the 5 people you're around. I can meet people, as you've experienced coming into the gym.
It's 100% reason I sought you guys out.
Yeah, and the fact that you have a Jose Raymond who won an Arnold Classic and was second place in the Mr. Olympia in the gym 7 days a week. And you can go up and ask him anything. You can train with him. And the energy that he brings when he's in the gym.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
He's definitely got a good sense of humor for sure.
There's a lightness in the air due to the people that are there that come from we know what we're doing, so let's have fun with it.
100%. I was just going to say, it's about, you can be light in there and accepting in there because the confidence level is just ingrained.
Yeah. There's no, when I travel around to other gyms, it's the stereotype. There's a lot of insecure people that's like, who's this guy? If I come in and work out, they're like, who's this big guy in here? Who's he think he is? Does he think he's better than me? And you get that energy, right? And it's terrible energy.
Not there at all.
Never happens.
Yeah.
So I want to continue to grow with more of the right people. We've partnered with Jay Cutler in helping his shows out that are in Boston at Royale. So, in the future, I can see us being part of having our own show, the GymHub Classic. Being able to help Jay with his show has really given me a behind the scenes of how these operate. And it's just such a rewarding thing, seeing people like yourself be able to have their big day. And you just want to make that big day better, right? Can you give them an even better experience? And I've been able to work with Jay to make his show better. And so, certainly I hope my relationship with Jay continues to grow and maybe some opportunities open up there. But I see potentially GymHub having a show. I'd love to in the future have more locations. We're very fortunate with guys like Jay backing us, Jay Cutler backing us, that it's now a brand. It's now people are seeking us out and as a destination and coming to us because there's something going on here. And so there's some value in that name now. And certainly the fulfillment that I get out of one gym, it would be great to have more locations in the future. But I'm also not rushing that. My fitness career up to this point has been optimizing and running very strong businesses and saying, okay, what's best for the business? How do we increase profit? How do we grow this business? This has been really, really fulfilling to say, how do I make the best gym with the best culture? And money is secondary. And we're very fortunate that the gym is profitable, but it's never the first thing that I'm seeking out. So I want to continue to bring in, we've been very fortunate to have Maureen Blanquisco, who's Miss Bikini Olympia, come in on 2 occasions to do posing seminars. So you have Miss Olympia teaching you how to do bikini posing. We do posing seminars in the gym twice a year with Jose, myself, Justin Randall, who's an IFBB Pro. And so we want to be this hub of all things bodybuilding, but bodybuilding meaning bigger than competing, right?
Yep.
You're a bodybuilder, people that are seeking to better themselves and come in and attack their plan, they're a bodybuilder.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, Nate. This has been amazing, amazing conversation. How can people reach out and follow along? We'll have all the links at the bottom of the video, at the bottom there. But why don't you just give the listener a quick lowdown on how to find you and GymHub? Yeah,
so Instagram's the best. GymHub is at GymHub Boston. And my personal Instagram is at Nate Telow, NateTelow. And I'm pretty good at checking message requests and getting back to people when they message me on either account.
Awesome. Dennis, what do you got?
Unbelievable. Learned so much. You gave so much great advice to everybody. And as I said, you're hitting your apex at multiple levels. Nice to see you doing it for others as well. Thank you for your time very much.
Thank you, guys.
And as always, it's go time.